So me back here again with a new video. In this new video, we are going to solve Jewel. Jewel is the latest retired machine on Hack the Box, retired on Saturday, and the machine difficulty rating is medium. As you can see, most of the uh, people who solved it rated it as medium. Now, there are something to learn from this machine, especially the Ruby exploitation part. Now, let's get started and see what is this machine gonna do for us. Now, basically here, the first thing we have the nmap scan. Nmap scan revealed we have 3 open ports. We have 8000, 8080 are the meaningful ports to start with. So basically here, as you can see from 8000, I have Apache server running, and on this Apache server I have Git web or Git repository, and this is the version, which is very useful. Now down here we have 8080 running nginx, and we have Fusion Passenger, and this is the version. Now side note for the methodology, whenever you see version, right, and package name, it's better to start looking if this package or this version of in this package, right, has a vulnerability in the wild or has an exploit in the wild to see if it is vulnerable, so you can right off the bat start exploiting the packages. But for the sake of this scenario, there is no, it's not going to be solved this way. So I just wanted to put you a note regarding the methodology when you see version and when you see software package. Now let's get started with, let's say 8080. So fire up the browser. All right. It's 8080. So welcome to blog, latest article. So this is a typical blog page. Now we see sign up, we see login. Let's sign up with a username like my name. And the password will be 123. So we are logged in. Now, there is a very cool application or an add-on to Firefox. You can use that add-on to see what is the language the website is built on. So basically, let's go to Firefox Store. And look for WebLizer. No? Let's see in Google. So let's add this to Firefox. I hope it's compatible with my version. Yes, no, let's see. All right, this is great. Now we click on add. Allow this extension to run in private, yes. Okay, now we get back here and we click on that. Say I'm okay with that. No technology detected. So here it lists the technology or the language, the programming language, backend programming language used to build this website. Now here nothing is displayed. Use technology icon. Never type one. All right, nothing to do for now. Now we have logged in here. Let's see the other ports. So here and 8000. So this is the Git repository, right? Now in Git repository, what matters for us is the configuration file or the gem configuration file. We want to find this file. We want to try if we can, take a look at the configuration, see the version of the Ruby installed, so we can find an appropriate exploitation for this. So here, list all projects, Git blog, click on the blog. All right. latest change, hits. So I want to look for the commits, short log, initial commit. Let's get back. So in the initial commits here, as you can see, we have a username, Bill, who is the author. And it's very cool to keep a note of the username in case we need it for the SSH. Now, as you can see, we are interested in the gem file, which is the configuration and contains everything about the installation of the Ruby. Click on that. And as you can see here, we have detailed information about the configuration, among which we have the Ruby version. Now, the Ruby version, we can just look if this version of Ruby is vulnerable. Now, how can we do this? We use search exploit, Ruby -w, Ruby. Now, what is the version here? 255. Let's see if there is something for 255. 235. So there is nothing clear from here. All right, let's use Google in this case. Ruby 255 exploit. CVE details. Let's see here. Now these are the vulnerabilities for Ruby, but all of them seem to be old, so we're gonna have to look for Ruby 255. All right, seems like nothing meaningful here. Let's see something else. No, back. Exploit GitHub. There is something on GitHub. So 522. Let's see the first one. CVE 2020 8165 Ruby on Rails. Environment Ruby 263.523. 255. So this one is applicable actually because it's more recent. This vulnerability, this exploit is for the version 263. And since 263 is more recent than 255, it means that this exploit works on this version. So let's see how we can, let's see the proof of concept. So you have to launch Ruby here. Let's do it. All right. Get back now to the console. No, we launched the new console, right? All right, so here, cd joule. So all we have to do is to just follow the instructions. The first one, bundle and install, path. Data flag is depreciated because it relies on being remembered across bundle implications. Then locate gem file. Let's see the CVE. Let's run again. So my Ruby version needs the bundler needs some update. Let me run update sudo bundle. So here it's saying your Ruby version is 2.7.2, right? But your gem file is specified 2.6.3. So you will have to change the gem file here to be compatible with our version. So what we will have to do is sudo nano gem file. Here it's saying 2 check back. So our version is 2.7.2. So here just change this to 2.7.2. So as I said earlier, make sure to complete the steps here, all the way till here, I guess, right? And then jump to the exploit part to start building the exploit. So basically here we start the Ruby console. All right, now we are ready to build the exploit. So basically we start here. Now you might be wondering, what is this exploit for? Yeah, I know we have a CVE in the Ruby version of the target platform here. Where was the page? Let me bring up the page first. So here the Ruby version is vulnerable, right? And we have an exploit we are building, but how are we going to use it? We're going to see that in details later when we take a look at the details of the CVE, right? So let's get down here and look at the exploit. So first we start building the code or the payload. In place of the code, we put our payload. In my case, I'm going to select netcut reversal. So here, code equal, so I'm going to copy it and the IP. Let me check on my IP address. Tab config. Slash 45450, and we put and or just it's better if I copy this all at once. No, that's wrong. Yeah, no, that's right actually. So here the codes are right and the code is built. Now get back here. So next we just take these as they are. ERP allocate instance variable, set the file name. So payload Marshall dump. Okay, so it starts from here. All right, so let's take this. So we missed the equal sign. All right, then puts payload. That's right. Then we have the require URI. And lastly, all right, so this is the payload, guys. Starts from here all the way until we reach the T, the uppercase T. And no need to just, this is all the proof of concept. Now, how do we use this exploit? Now, if we get back here, let's take the CVE and see how we're going to use it. Let's take a look at the CVE details. A deserialization of untrusted data vulnerability exists in Rails 5243, Rails 6031 that can allow an attacker to unmarshal user-provided objects in memcache store and Redis cache store, potentially resulting in remote code execution. So it's all about providing, as you can see, the payload here as a user input so that we can execute remote code execution or remote code, sorry. So where we will be providing this user input. Let's take a look at more details at the CVE here. See the NVD. So if you type CVE now, POC, all right, see this one. Okay, let's see the proof of concept the developer has provided. So if you go down here, scroll down here, as you can see, we have to curl the target, right? And then provide the payload in, as you can see, a variable to the parameter name. The parameter name here is new, right? And the page is users. So this makes me think that the exploit will work on the user profile we have just created here. So if we log in back, 1, 2, 3. All right. And if we go to profile, so one way to provide, it's here all about providing user input, right? So we wanna, as you can see, the parameter is a new. So it makes me think something has to do with editing the profile. So I have to edit the profile and provide some information while we edit the profile. The information we provide will be the payload. So here, profile, as you can see here, you have the username field. Now we can update this as well. Let's see how can we see a parameter in this page that could correspond to this parameter here, right? So when we see a parameter that we can edit, we're going to place the payload. So perp suite, Okay, so purpose is running, proxy intercept is on. Now let's update something on the page, like multisim mm add m, and see the request here. So as you can see, what we can edit here is we have the UTF encoding the method authenticity token user name equal multisim mm and update user. So what we will edit here, guys, is the username. We replace this with the payload. For doing that, we will have to make sure the listener is running. So new tab, 4545. Oh, let me install rlwrap. Okay, now we're listening. Okay, now the payload is here. So copy the payload. And replace it with the username field. So it looks like this. And then we forward, and hopefully we will receive the connection. Nothing. Seems like we have something wrong in the payload. Four five 45. Refresh the page, cancel, check on my terminal. And yes, we received the reversal. Cool. So that's about the exploitation part of the Ruby. Now, something to put in mind here is this. If I get back to the proof of concept, you may ask me how to avoid this vulnerability. It's recent, 2020, and it affects Ruby. So basically, you're going to make sure that your Ruby installation is not 2.55 or the version is more than 263. For example, how you can know this? Let me check out on my version. So what you would do here, you would type ruby-v. My Ruby version is 272, which means it is not vulnerable to the CVE 2020 8165. So that's how you will patch your system against this vulnerability. All right. Now let's get back here and see how we can conduct a privilege escalation. Before we conclude the exploitation part, there is another way of doing this exploit. So basically, there's a Python script. I will put down the link and the author, right? So the Python script here, let me create it from here. You can do that automatically, by the way. All right, so let's do it here. So view, Ruby exploit.py, paste. Now, this is the exploit or the script. So all you have to do here is to, before creating an account, just put here the username and the password you have, all right? Now, if you're gonna do this exploitation, guys, you have to make sure that you do it one way, either the manual way or the automated way. Both will not gonna work because it will use your account name, username and password and email. And since now we have used the account, my account, to create this proof of concept, we're not gonna be able to do this on the same account. We have to open a new account. Not sure if I can do this. Let me check. So, here. So basically, if I take this one, no, I don't think, let's not do it. I don't want to break this session. So basically, all you have to do, just change the username, password, and the email to your email, and run the script. So to run the script, you have to, as you can see here, provide the target IP, which is the remote host IP, the hack the box, Jewel, your IP, and port. That's all I have to do. Run it, and you will get the reverse shell immediately. If you didn't pull it off, just do it the manual way. Okay. Let's jump now to the privilege escalation part. Now, before jumping to the privilege escalation part, let's create a more stable shell. So Python, and yes. So let's see what we have here. ls. Okay, so we're gonna look for the user flag, cd build, home. We have build. So this is the user flag, user.txt, and this is your flag. Now the privilege escalation part. So basically, as you know, one of the ways to one of the methods of privilege escalation is to look for backups file, and this is what is this what and this is and this scenario and this is what works for this scenario for the privilege escalation. So in the var directory, go to var, there is a backups directory. Backups. So here we have SQL file. Let me look for the SQL file. I found it before. Okay, this is a SQL file. Cat SQL file. So as you can see here, guys, we have two hashes. This is the first one for Jennifer and the second one for Bill. So you know what to do next. We take them, we crack them with John the Ripper. So take the first one. The next one is for Bill. Save it. So use John the Ripper now to find the password. And before finding the password for these hashes, we have first to identify them, right? So we feed the format to John the Ripper as an input. All right, where is the hashes again? That's the first one. So not found. Cat hash. Not sure I'm working in the right directory. Cat hashes. All right, save it to proxy. Hash identifier. So from here, as you can see, the hash type is BC crypt. So we know what to do with John the Ripper now. So sudo John -- format equal BC crypt hashes -- word list so share. Is it tar file? .gz. So use sudo unzip. Okay, run one more time. That's the first password. I suppose this is the password for build, right? So here, if you type sudo -l to see what build can run as privileged command, as a privileged user. So it's asking for the password, take SpongeBob and paste it. Here it's asking for a verification code. So it appears that we have two-factor authentication enabled for normal users or non-privileged users when they want to run sudo commands. So they have to provide the code, as you can see here, in order to be able to see what they can run as privileged users or privileged commands, right? So you have to provide the verification code. So how to provide that? We can have to look to see where we can find it. Oh, I ended the connection. Jesus Christ. This is a fatal mistake. I have to do this again. So now it doesn't want to work. Profile. Okay. All right. CM update payload. Forward. Check on this. Okay. So now quick to the shell. All right. So now we have to find earlier we have to find the code. We have to find the authentication code in order to bypass two-factor authentication. All right, so where we are here, we are in block directory. What do we have? ls-la. Let's see how we can find this. So go back, ls-la, cd. So as you can see, we have Google Authenticator file. If we cut this file, cut, you see we have, as you can see, some secret, right? So, but you cannot use this with the verification code. You have to use that to create the code. So for that, we will use a plugin in Firefox called the Authenticator to generate the code. So Authenticator Firefox. Add. Okay, which is here. Now we will click on Edit, add a new manual entry. The issuer could be anything. I'm going to type Jewel. The secret is the code we find here. So one more time. Okay. Manual entry, Jewel, secret, create, and this is the code. Copied. Okay, I hope it is copied correctly. So sudo-l sponge pub code, and you are in. So we have escalated the privilege, right? Not escalated actually. We have just made the way easy for privilege escalation. I'm gonna say it, or if you can call it this way. So basically, we can see what are the comments we can run as privileged or in a privileged mode. So we can run user bin gem, right? All users, right? With no problem. So let's do this, but we have to find out how we can use this tool or this binary to our advantage. So we use GTF opens. GTF opens. What's your time? GTF opens. Gem sudo. So all we have to do now is to take this and run it. If the binary is allowed to run as a super user by sudo, it doesn't drop the elevated privileges and may be used to access the file system, escalate, or maintain privileged access. This requires the name of an installed gem to be provided. RDOC is usually installed. So it requires that RDOC is installed. If you encounter a target that doesn't have RDOC, just install it and you can just use this. Paste ID and you are the root user. cd root s cat root txt. Okay, let's take the flag. Submit. Difficulty is 5. It doesn't require advanced knowledge. You just have to be familiar with Ruby, some basic knowledge about Ruby in order to, if you encounter a problem while exploiting the vulnerability, you have to just troubleshoot it, right? So basic knowledge of Ruby, research, enumeration, and the cool part, I like it, is, let me point you out where the cool part is. The cool part is the exploitation can be done both ways. You can use a script and you can use the manual method. And make sure if your Ruby is not up to date, to update it to the version or to the latest version 2.7 so that you don't fall victim to these kind of vulnerabilities. So here you have it. Thank you for watching.